Good afternoon, I'm Michael Loebig.
And I'm Eric Burton.
And you're watching NU News. This just in, people in the United States are losing their liberties. Tune in for more. According to many members of Congress, the editorial boards at the New York Times and the Washington Post have said that the Bill of Rights was added to protect the individual from the tyranny of the majority. They gave the power to enforce those rights to the Supreme Court. However, this is a great big misunderstanding. The Constitution did not envision a national government of national jurisdiction, or a government that could do whatever it wanted. Instead, they envisioned a government of enumerated and delegated powers so that they would only have authority over specific areas of human life, such as protecting our property.
According to James Madison, property is the dominion which one man claims and exercises over the things of the world, in exclusion of every other individual. It is everything to which a man may attach a value to and may have a right to. In the former sense, a man's land, merchandise, or money is called his property. In the latter sense, a man has property in his opinions and free communication of them. In its entirety, a man is said to have a right to his property as well as he has property in his rights. The government is instituted to protect a man's property of every sort. More sparingly, a man's conscience is his most important property that he deserves the most protection. His opinions, his knowledge, his morals, and his values are the most sacred property he can possess. Overall, a man's property are his to do with as he pleases, so as long as he doesn't harm another individual with them.
Now, the 9th and 10th Amendments were established to reinforce the idea that the national government couldn't just assume powers if it had not yet been granted them specifically by the Constitution. However, today's federal government has been gradually grabbing power and taking more control. This transition escalated during the second half of the 20th century. The justices in the Supreme Court and the judicial branch have been plainly overstepping their boundaries by creating laws strictly just straight from the bench, and they've been doing very little to stop the executive and legislative branch from unconstitutionally overreaching. For example, our national government made it mandatory for every individual to purchase health insurance coverage under the Affordable Care Act, even though the Constitution does not even allow them to force the people to purchase products. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that the government has the power to do this. Thanks, Obama.
You know what, Michael? It's really important that we keep our government in check and read the documents our founding fathers created. The people are responsible for their actions in this country, including being responsible for fighting for their rights.
You know what? Absolutely, Eric. What the government has been doing is just unacceptable. I think we need to remind our fellow Americans what makes this country so great.
America has fought for liberty and has promoted it around the world more than any other country, and this came as a great sacrifice. A lot of outsiders that look in, Nick Adams specifically, have admired how we're always there for other nations that are trying to liberate their people. In fact, liberty is one of Dennis Prager's values in his trademarked American Trinity.
The American Trinity consists of three of American core values. 1, e pluribus unum, 2, in God we trust, and 3, liberty. Now, e pluribus unum, meaning from many one, means that we just simply don't care where you're from. You know what, Eric? This country was founded on immigration. We have people that live in this country from all over the world, so we are used to seeing a lot of different faces around here. Now, quite simply, it really just doesn't matter to us, you know? So, in God we trust. Now, that means that our rights originate from the man upstairs, and that our rights are not just given to us by the government. It also means that our morals stem from Christianity and the 10 Commandments, which mean that people must be accountable for their actions. Now finally, liberty. This allows us to use our talent, hard work, and sometimes just plain luck to take us wherever we want to go, and it will take you wherever you want to end up. Now over in Europe, their governments believe equality is just as important as liberty, and in order to enforce equality, liberties must be taken away. Now, we just simply have to learn from this.
Alright, to go back to what Nick Adams was getting at, not only do we fight for liberty more than any other country in the world, but we're also the most generous country. He notes how we can raise tons of funds from donating our money to aid countries that underwent natural disasters, diseases, and other natural disasters and things of that nature.
You know, I really agree, Eric. Now, the next thing that he has to say is that no other country in the world has the opportunity to fail like we have. You know, you only hear Americans say, if at first you don't succeed, try, and try again. Now, according to Stephen Rogers, a renowned professor at the Harvard Business School, he says that most entrepreneurs fail on average 4 times before they succeed. 4 times. If you fail, you must accept responsibility, you must learn from your mistakes, and you'll do better the next time. This builds good character, so it's a great opportunity that most people in the world just can't experience.
As an outsider, he can see that our country is heading in a direction that dangerously resembles what European countries are doing. He sees that our social and economic models are starting to look like how Europe's is set up. And if we look at places like Greece and France, we can see that they are terribly failing. Our debt and government grow larger as our military and personal freedoms are shrinking. A weak, self-doubting America is bad for everyone all over the world.
No, I agree. Well, that about wraps up our segment on why we're losing liberties here in America. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Michael Loebig,
I'm Eric Burton.
and you were watching NU News.
Have a great night.